Pilots did with their B-2 bombers, those unbelievable machines. They traveled 36 hours without stop. And the bomb hit they went right down the chutes. And then, as you know, we shot 30 rockets from submarines that were hundreds of miles away, and they hit every target. So they can start again, but they haven't been saying the right thing. I will say Iran has not been saying the right thing. They have not been speaking nicely, and they should be. Yeah, please.
Many people say that he's playing politics with the futures of military.
Well, he is. We call him Too Late. He's Too Late. It's his new nickname. It's Too Late, pal. He's a terrible Federal Reserve Chairman. Not only that, he's building a building. He's at $2.9 billion. It's actually 3.1 if you include other areas that are essentially the same thing. Way over budget, has no idea what he's doing, and I would say he's probably good at that compared to what he does with interest rates. But, you know, we have him there, and it was a mistake. I put him in, and then Biden extended him, and Biden only extended him because he knew I couldn't stand him, and that turned out to be not a good thing for Biden. Although he did lower interest rates just prior to the election, didn't work out too well for them, but he did lower them pretty substantially just prior to the election. No, he's a political hack, not very good. He's not a smart guy, Brian.
Mr. President, sports fans have been very supportive. To go back to the original names of the Cleveland Indians, the Washington Redskins.
Oh, I love that. Love the sound of that.
Well,
I do the Washington Redskins. I think they should do it. I told the mayor and I told people that they should bring back the name. If they bring back the name, you'll have a lot of excitement. And I mean, Cleveland Indians, how about that? That was an original franchise, 1903 or something, 1906, an original, the Cleveland Indians. And what do? They changed the name from Indians. What's wrong with the word Indian? You know who is upset about it? The Indians are upset about it. They're upset about Redskins, too. So Redskins, I guess you'd say it was a little bit lesser of a case, but people want to see the Redskins, and the Indians want to see the Redskins back. No, I recommend it. I was asked that question the other day. The Washington Redskins, it's a fabled franchise. And now, I don't even know what the hell their last name is. What are they to Commanders or something? Is it Commanders? It's not a good name. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, not you. You.
Mr. President, Kamala Harris, as you know, is not running for governor of California. She's not going to do it. What do you see in her political future, sir?
Well, she can't speak. She can't talk. She can't do an interview. I thought it was a very strange campaign that we had. But, you know, I had two of them. We were up by like this massive number of points on Biden, and they said, let's change to Kamala. Nobody knew who Kamala was. Nobody knew her last name, Harris. They said, we're going to get Vice President Harris. Everyone said, who the hell is Harris? They only knew her by the first name. But no, I thought she was a terrible candidate. Look, don't forget, she didn't really get the nomination. I mean, that whole nomination was strange. She was the first one out. You know, she took a good amount of points with her when she announced, but nobody knew her. Once they got to know her, she dropped out very shortly after she started. And she started with a pretty good, you know, she was like in second or third place. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call her a skilled politician. Would you?
She's also coming out with a book. Any plans to buy it?
I don't know. I think I'm going to buy it. I'd love to see it. No. I'd find it. Look, I find everything in politics interesting. I sort of enjoy politics. She wasn't a skilled person. You know, you have skilled politicians, really skilled politicians, and then you have some that aren't. And she was put in a very tough position, I think. She did have a 6-week honeymoon. They told me, the pros said, you know what, she's going to have a 6-week, and she did. She was like untouchable in terms of everybody thought great. But she didn't do any interviews or anything, which was strange. Not even friendly interviews with friendly reporters like her right there, a really friendly reporter. And you know what happened? People said, what's wrong with her? Why isn't she doing? She made a mistake. She should have done interviews. She didn't run a great campaign, but we beat Biden, and then we had to beat, nobody's beaten two. I had to beat two. That's like Dana White, the great Dana White has a fight, and he has a fighter that's getting the hell knocked out of him. They say, well, let's take him out and put somebody else in. Didn't seem fair to me at the time, but where are we? We're in the White House. So, I mean, you know, so it worked out.
If I may, sir, very serious question here. Russia today hit Kyiv with missiles and drones, more than 100 people, kids.
I think it's Russia, I think it's disgusting what they're doing. I think it's disgusting. This is Biden's war. It's not my war. But I said if I get in, I'll try and get the thing stopped. But I think what Russia's doing is very sad. A lot of Russians are dying. You have a lot of Russians, more Russians are dying. But Russians are dying, Ukrainians are dying. You know, the United States isn't really involved in that war. It shouldn't be. And by the way, I made a deal with NATO where NATO pays us for everything that we send. We send them ammunition, missiles, etc. And you only look that way. Well, I'm delighted to be here with some of the truly great sports legends of all time as we formally announce the newest members of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. This is an important step in our mission to make America healthy again. It's something that's very important, what we're doing, very important. Dating back to the administration of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, this council has championed the vigor and strength and vitality of the American people. Today, we continue that very proud tradition. This group is led by two-time major champion and one of the greatest players in the world, one of the highest ranked, and he just had a phenomenal Open Championship, as you probably saw, shooting one round that wasn't so good, and then he came back with about a 65 or something. He was getting a birdie on every hole. They were worried he might not make the cut, and he made the cut by about 200 strokes. It was pretty amazing, and he had a great week, actually. And he's also the longest hitter of a golf ball, I think ever, but, you know, they say ever. I would say ever. And the longest in the world today, and it's Bryson DeChambeau. He's a great guy, been my friend for a long time. And from his storied amateur career, where he won the U.S. Amateur, I think once or twice. Did you win it?
It was once, and then the
Once?
NCAAs as well.
Okay, you won a lot of other championships, but U.S. Amateur champion. And then, as you know, he won at Winged Foot, won the U.S. Open in Pinehurst. And Bryson has always been a phenomenal ambassador to sports and to golf, but generally to life, in my opinion. He's a smart guy and a good guy, great guy, loves our country. We're also pleased to be joined by Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. Bobby, you do a great job. He's got some big things happening, and he's got some big statements to be made very shortly in terms of, over the next few months, in terms of what they've been doing and finding answers to some very, very important questions. Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who's phenomenal, wherever you may be, Linda. Hi, Linda. What are you doing back there? And I mean, look, you've been reading about her exploits and the job that she's been doing, and we're very proud of her. Council Executive Director, Catherine Granito. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great job. And several other new members of the council, including J.D. is here, our fantastic Vice President, and Scott Bessent, and we're making a lot of deals. We're making deals for trillions and trillions. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. We just made a couple of others a little while ago. I don't know if you'd be interested right now. I won't even bother telling you. This is about sports and about health. One of the best defensive players ever, I think probably acknowledged to be the greatest defensive player in the history of the NFL, a friend of mine for a long time. Too long, right, Lawrence? Lawrence Taylor, he's an incredible guy. And just been my friend a long time, haven't we? Huh? Knew him forever. One of the most accurate kickers in NFL history, a young guy still. He can kick it long. I think I guess he's considered the best there is in the business, Harrison Butker. So, Harrison, where are you, Harrison? He's a handsome guy, by the way. It's usually not my thing, but he is a good-looking sucker. One of the truly greatest golfers ever to play on the LPGA Tour. A lot of people say the greatest female player ever, and a lot of people would say just one of the best players ever. She's phenomenal. I've played a lot of golf with Annika Sorenstam, and she's amazing. Just had an really storied career, Hall of Famer, easily a Hall of Famer, by the way, right at the top of the list. So it's great to have you with us, Annika, and say hello to the family. And then she was here not so long ago with Gary Player, where she got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and so did he. He's won 168 tournaments and 18 majors, 9-9, and she's the same in terms of the women's game. But that was a great time. It was a great honor to give it to you. You really deserved it. It's the highest medal you can get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's the military version. And the other is the Presidential Medal, and you got it. So thank you very much. 14-time WWE World Champion, and he's a man who you're not going to mess around with. Even Bryson said, I think I'll take a pass on him, right? You're going to take. And he's another one who's been my friend for a long time. He's really an amazing athlete. Triple H. There he is. Oh, that's still very strong. He's a strong guy. And it's great to have you. And you felt very strongly about this, about the council.
100%.
Yep. Well, it's a great honor to have you. Offensive lineman, NFL, very respected, very smart. Cody Campbell. Thank you, Cody, very much. Thank you very much. In addition
President Trump
to,
says
the
he's
people
in
here,
deep
we have
discussion
other
with
council
top
members
economic
that,
advisors
just pay their respects.
about sending out a
one of the
rebate
greatest
check to help
players and
seniors,
athletes ever.
people in the middle class, lower
you could
income
say,
families. He says this is what
when
you're
you look at
supposed to
records,
do
he's probably
as a
nothing
government.
like it.
Democrats
Tiger and
in
Jack,
Texas have
this
fled
is
the
Jack.
state
Tiger was here not so
to
long ago
avoid
getting
a
the
vote
Presidential Medal
that
of
will lose them
Freedom. Also,
5
he's
seats
a
in
fantastic
Congress.
guy. And
Governor Greg
on
Abbott
the
says,
council, we have
get
Jack
back to
Nicklaus,
Texas
and
right
he sends
now,
his
or
regards.
you'll be
We have Gary
arrested
Player,
and replaced.
one of the greats.
RFK
Nellie Porter,
Jr. just
who's
made two
phenomenal.
of the biggest
young, I think you'd
moves
say
yet.
great
And the American
young
people
player,
can't even
Annika,
fully
right?
grasp
Fantastic
how big
person
they are
too. NFL
because
icons.
Big Pharma
Tony
has been
Romo,
brainwashing
also,
us for
great
years.
football
It's
player,
incredible.
quarterback,
If you
also a
could give
great
this
golfer.
video a like,
Nick
hit that
Bosa,
subscribe button, and let's
know
jump
him.
right
He's,
in while I'm on
he's
vacation,
a
bringing you
modern
guys
day
the
version
news.
of Lawrence. What do
All
you
right,
think? He's pretty
President
good,
Trump
right,
is
Lawrence?
seriously weighing a
Pretty good.
rebate program for
Saquon
middle and
Barkley
lower
was on
income
the council,
Americans, funded
and Tua
by the billions of dollars in new
Tagovailoa,
revenue generated
quarterback,
from his tariff
who's,
policy. On
really,
the one
he's
hand,
been
I think it's a way
fantastic.
for
He's
him to
been,
brag and say, look,
when he's not
everyone thought
injured,
the
he's
U.S.
great. He's
economy
gonna
and the global
stay healthy.
economy were
But
going to
and he's a great
collapse.
guy. NFL
Instead,
Commissioner
we're bringing
Roger
in
Goodell is on the
hundreds of
commission,
billions
NFL
of
Commissioner
dollars
Gary
in
Bettman,
tariff money,
and
I want to help the American
great
people.
one, Wayne
Now,
Gretzky
he
is
shared
on,
this
and
from Air Force
a
One,
man who,
and he
also
revealed that
received
in
the
just the month of
Presidential Medal of
July,
Freedom, Mariano
his idea
Rivera.
brought in
And when I looked at his record, it was unbelievable. The Sandman, my wife said, why do they
in
keep
new
playing
revenue.
the Sandman?
This is money that
when
was
he
not
walks
coming in.
I said,
He
because he just puts
emphasized
the batter
using
to
that
sleep.
money to
He was
reduce
great.
the
When you look at
national
his
debt.
record
He said,
compared
going
to second,
forward, we have to
Raleigh
lower
Fingers
the
was
national
great.
debt. We owe
And
it
he
to
was really great,
ourselves.
but when you look at the record,
We owe
boy,
it to the
Mariano
future
had a
of
record
America,
I've never
and
seen
we
anything
owe it
like
to
it.
our
He was
children and grandchildren.
so high up.
He said,
The
however,
order
a
that
lot
I'll
of
sign
people
today in a few
have
moments,
been negatively affected
directs the council to
by
develop strategies to
the,
improve America's physical fitness
high
and renew
inflation
the American
from the Biden
spirit,
era. He
excellence,
says that he wants to
competitiveness,
do
and
something
sportsmanship.
about that.
To
And I
that end,
believe
I'm
him. I
pleased to
believe that he
announce
is
that
going
we're
to
officially restoring the
that
Presidential
done. Now, let me
Fitness
just
Test
show you
and the
here on the
Presidential
screen
Fitness
exactly
Award. And it's
what
going to
he
be a
is
very
talking
big thing.
about.
From the
So
late
you can
1950s
see
until the
right here.
2013
Look at this.
graduate
So
scholars
under
all across
Biden,
our country
now, by the
competed
way,
against
this
each
money
other
being
in the
brought in
Presidential
from
Fitness
2021
Test. And it was a
to
big deal.
2024,
This
that was
a
also
wonderful
Donald Trump
tradition, and we're bringing it back.
because of the
I think,
China
Bryson
tariff
and
policy.
Everybody here wanted
However,
to
can you
see
see
if we could bring
boom,
that back, and it's turned out to be
how much money
very
spikes
popular
that he
to do.
brings into the
My
country?
administration's
This is
also
exactly
pressing
what he
forward
wants
with
to
the
do. And
important
so he
reforms
said
in
that
sports
he and his top
athletics, and the
economic
group behind
advisors,
me and the
they
others
are
that I
weighing
mentioned and others
how
that have
to
asked to
help
join.
the
We have many
American people,
great athletes
and
that
I'll
have asked to
continue to
join
keep you
the
updated on
council,
that
and we're
because
going to
it's
let
huge.
some
He
of them
says,
come in.
we're going to
But they're
pay
gonna
down
also be
debt.
working
We
on
have a lot of
college
money
football
coming
in
in,
terms
much
of,
more money than the
what
country
happened.
has ever seen,
It's a
by
mess.
hundreds of billions
What
of
happened.
dollars. And there could
It's,
be a
what
distribution
they're
or a
doing
dividend to the
with
people of
college
our
football.
country. I would
And the
say for
fans are
people in
upset
the middle
about it.
income or
And
lower income,
players are being
we could
taken
do
from
a
team after
dividend,
team and
but the one thing
being
we're going
traded
to
around
do
like
is
playing
reduce
cards.
the debt.
And
He then added,
lot
We
of
have
money
hundreds of billions of dollars
passing and
pouring into
nobody
this
knows
country.
what's happening.
Something that we should have done
these
years ago.
people behind
Now,
me are going to be very
I
much
love
involved in
how President
figuring
Trump is
that whole
always
thing out and
thinking
working
about
on it
ways
and
to
trying
help
to
America
bring some sanity to that
and the American
incredible,
people. President
not only
Biden would
the
be like,
football, college
folks,
sports, very,
we
very
found
bad
some
for
extra
women,
money.
very bad what's
We're going
happening,
to
'cause
give
now
it
all of a sudden
to
there's
the
no
great
women
people of
that
Ukraine.
are
We're
able
also
to
going to
get
help
the money
my
that they're talking
friends
about.
who say
It
that they
seems to
can
be going
solve
mostly
climate
to
change.
football.
Speaking
some
of
basketball,
changes, we're going to do
and,
sex changes
women's
for
sports are being
kids. But don't
totally
worry,
decimated.
folks.
We
We're
know
going to do
that
it
on a-
behind
with
parents'
this.
backs
It's all going
so
into
that they
football
don't
and,
know. Also,
some
we're
to
bringing in even
basketball
more
and everything
illegal
else is being
immigrants
left
to take
behind.
your jobs
And
for cheap
women
wages.
are being left behind, and lesser
What a
sports are being left
huge
behind, and the
difference
Olympics
between
is being
Biden and Donald
decimated
Trump.
because
And
that
you
was
know
like
I'm using
training
satire
for the
and
Olympics, and
humor,
now we're
but
not
I'm
gonna
also
have that.
telling the truth.
Many of those
President
sports
Trump
left.
also pointed out one of the
The smaller
reasons
sports,
there was so
they're
much
almost
money
gonna be
already
completely
coming
wiped
in
out. This
was
is
because
crazy
he
what's
went
going
after
on.
China
We
like
banned
no one
men
has
from
ever
competing
gone
in
after
women's
China.
sports, and
Speaking
last
of going
week, the
after
United
people,
States Olympic and Paralympic Committee
Stephen
announced
Miller
that they
of the
will
White House
be
said there
complying
are
with that
absolutely
order, so there won't
felonies
be
against
men
Obama,
playing
Brennan,
women's sports.
Comey, and
That seemed
Hillary
like an easy
Clinton
one. They say it's
that
an
they could go
80-20
after
issue during
and
the
that
campaign.
we
I
should
said,
go
no, that's not
after. Let me
80-20.
just show
That's
you
97-3.
exactly what he had to say on
Maybe it's
Fox News.
98-2,
The
perhaps.
Russia collusion hoax
And last
against
Thursday,
President
we
Trump
terminated
remains
third-party
the single
pay-for-play
greatest
schemes
hoax and the
collegiate
greatest assault on our
athletics and,
democracy in the
effectively
history
saving-
of this
we
country.
saved
There's
college
no
sports, but
comparison,
now
there's
we
no
have to make
parallel
it-
to anything else.
We have to
It
heal
was a
it, 'cause
coup.
it's really a mess.
And I'm
It's a
using
real
that
mess.
term
This
literally.
council
It was
will
a
play an
coup to
important role in
overthrow a
shaping these new
democratically elected
policies and
government,
ensuring that we
a coup
preserve
carried
the
out by the
American
intelligence
athletic
apparatus
tradition
of this country,
for many
by the deep
generations
state,
to
by
come.
Hillary Clinton and the
And in the
Democrat
years ahead,
Party.
we'll have
The new
chance
information
to
that has
showcase
been
our
revealed
nation's athletic
by the Director
dominance
of National
in the
Intelligence
world
and by the
stage as we
FBI
host the
eliminates any
America
scintilla
250. So
of
we have
doubt
America
about
250,
the
and we have
intention, the
it's going to be
premeditation,
incredible. The
the
Patriot
planning
Games.
and orchestration of
We
this
have the Ryder
conspiracy.
Cup. We have the
It meets
President's
all
Cup.
of the criminal
We have the
elements of a seditious
26
conspiracy
FIFA
against
World
the United
Cup.
States.
So we have the World Cup
it meets
here.
the
We
criminal
have
elements of an
the
insurrection.
2028
It meets the
Olympics.
criminal elements
So
of a
when they
conspiracy
cheated
against the
on the
government
election
and
and
the
they
criminal
picked somebody that
elements
wasn't
of a
supposed to be
conspiracy
there, I
to
was
deprive
very upset
citizens of
before
their
that
civil rights
because I
under
got the
color of
Olympics
law.
and I got the
One
World Cup. I was the one that
egregious
did it.
felony after another.
The-
And
I
because
can't
it is
say
a
I got America
conspiracy, it's
250. It
demonstrated
just happened to be
by the
200.
forethought
I'd like
of
to take credit
realizing
for that, but I don't think I'll
and
be able to.
documented
But we have a
that
big
they
thing
understood that
coming
this
up.
was
But I was
fake
very
from the
upset because I
beginning,
got them.
meeting
and
them in
it
rea
was skipped
standard in law.
an election
Because
season.
of that, because it is
And so
a
it took
conspiracy,
place
every
in the
single
next term
individual
after the
actor
term that
is
we
now
were supposed to
part
have.
of that
And I
conspiracy.
was
So that
extremely
includes
angry. And
Brennan
then when I won,
and
I said,
Clapper
wait a minute, I
and
think I just
Comey
picked up
and
the
Hillary
Olympics and I just
and
picked up the
Schiff
World Cup.
and
So it worked out
everybody
sort
else
of cool.
who knowingly
But I
and
want to,
willfully perpetrated
again,
this
thank
plot,
everybody in
this
the council.
coup, this
They want to
conspiracy,
work
this
too. These are
scheme
people that
against
really,
President Trump and the
we
government
only
of the
do it
United
by
States.
request,
And now is
people,
the
they
time
want to
and
work
the
and they
hour
want to
and the
make things
moment
better.
for
And I
accountability
hope they can
so that
make
we can
college
reclaim
sports
this
better. They can
democracy,
heal it. They
Maria.
can find
Right.
a solution. It's not going to
So
be that easy.
he
But you have a
lays
lot of
out
smart
crystal
people.
clear
So I'd like to
in
begin
just
by
a couple of minutes
introducing
all
Bryson
of the
to say a
different
few
felonies
words,
that they
then
could
we'll
get
have
everybody
Triple H,
on.
and we'll have a couple of
and
other
it
people
all
say
falls under
something,
the
and
umbrella
then I'm going to sign
of
that
conspiracy.
good-looking
So
couple of pieces of
if you
paper.
defraud
and
the
it means a
government,
lot.
you
It's
go to
gonna be
jail
a
for
very
5 years.
important
If you
council,
conspire
and thank
to
you all for
defraud
being
them,
here. Bryson,
20
please.
years, right? So this is even bigger than
Thank
most
you, everybody,
people
for being here. And
realize.
first off, I'd
like
like
these
to
are
say thank you to
major
President Trump
crimes
and
against
Vice President Vance
Trump,
for your
but
support.
the bigger crimes
and,
are
this
against
initiative in
America,
council. And
against
to be
the
honest,
country.
I never would have thought
Sedition
that this
against the American
opportunity would have
people.
been
So I'll continue to keep
here
you
right at our
updated
doorstep.
because I do
We have
believe
an opportunity at
that they
being
are going to go
70th
after
anniversary
these people,
of the President's
and
Council on
it's
Sports, Fitness, and
fascinating
Nutrition
everything that they're going
to
to do.
literally
It's
change
going
the
to
fabric
be huge, and
of
I'm
kids'
just here
lives.
for it. I'm excited
and our
about
first
it.
initiative
All right,
is
now,
to bring back and reignite the President's
Democrats.
fitness test.
These
And
guys
also,
cannot get their
we
act
established
together.
some key
I mean,
other
they just
metrics
continue
on,
to flop
guidelines around
as
building
an
some
organization.
communities,
I mean,
and also,
it really
again, with the
confuses me when they
president's
say
initiatives
Republicans
around college,
could lose
we think we
the
can help in that
2026.
regard
I'm like,
too, but
how?
we've got a great,
but then I see how they
established,
behave and how they don't get
council
Trump
with
stuff
us that
done.
we
But
believe we
if
can
you
change
want
the
Trump
fabric of our communities
to have a
and kids'
successful
livelihoods for the future
2026
generations
and
that are to come.
2027,
I
then
can't
we
thank you
have
guys
to
enough
keep
and
these
looking
guys in
forward to
office.
making
But
massive
listen to how
changes
bad things are
in
getting
kids' lives
for the
and in our
Democrats. I
America's
mean,
future.
it's almost
Thank you.
embarrassing for me to watch.
the Donald Trump administration is arguably
First
the
of all,
most
I'd like to say the
influential
same.
this century, and
President
probably
Trump.
as
Thank you for this
well
honor.
dating
I'm
back a
humbled
good
by
portion
it.
of the last
I'm
century as
truly
well.
honored to be on
Love it,
this.
like it, lump it.
President Vance,
Trump
thank
is
you very
remaking
much.
in the United States of
Secretary
America. Let's
Kennedy,
talk about tariffs first, right?
truly
There's all this talk
appreciate
that
all
Donald
that
Trump
everybody is
always
doing
chickens out when
for
it
the
comes
health
to
and
tariffs.
wellness of the entire
No tacos
country.
for Trump. The effective tariff rate,
For
get
me,
this. It's 18%,
since I
the
was 14,
highest,
this has
the
been such
highest
an
since the
important part of my
FDR
life.
administration
Health,
in the
fitness,
1930s,
sports,
up from, get
nutrition,
this,
all
just
of it. I think
2%
learning
last
that
year.
at a
From
young
just
age
2% last year,
sets you
we're
up for
talking about a
success in
level,
life,
an
and
effective
without
tariff
it,
rate level,
you're
get
in a lesser
this,
place
9
for it.
times as
So
high
I
this
look
year
forward to
than
the
last year.
opportunity
But it's
to
not
do
just
this. I
on
look
tariffs,
forward
which
to
of
the
course Donald
opportunity
Trump ran
to
on, in which
help
you're
make
seeing a
our
tremendously
youth
influential
healthy,
presidency.
help get them
What about
engaged in
immigration? Of course,
sports,
Trump
and let
ran
them
and has
learn what it
always
takes
run
to be
on a very
successful in
hawkish
life.
immigration
So thank you very
platform.
much
Get
for the
this,
honor. Thank you.
2025 net migration in the United States down at least 60% from last year. In fact, we may
Thanks
be
very
heading
much,
for
Mr.
the
President.
first time in at least 50 years in which we have negative
December
migration
of
into the
1960,
United
a month
States.
after he won
And
with
last
the
year, of course,
election,
in 2024, the
my
net
uncle,
migration in the U.S.
who
was
was about to be
2.8 million.
president,
This year,
wrote
we
an
might be
article
talking about
for
negative
Physical
net
or
migration.
Sports
My
Illustrated
goodness gracious.
called The
Now, of
Soft
course,
American.
this
And he
is
was
part of
lamenting
a
the fact
larger
that
story, as I was mentioning. We're
America had
talking about
prided itself on
immigration,
its beef
net migration. We're
jerky
talking about
toughness.
the effective tariff rate.
And that we
But
were
get this,
losing,
how is
that we were
Donald Trump
falling
doing
behind
it? Well, he is
Europeans,
signing
we were
a
falling
ton
behind other
of
nations.
executive orders. Get this,
And he was signaling
180,
with that
the
article
most
that
in a
he
year
was going to
since
make
Franklin
physical
Delano
fitness of our
Roosevelt.
kids the
Oh my
centerpiece
goodness,
of
you
his
have to go back to the
administration.
first half of the
And
20th century,
I'm
the
so
last century,
grateful to
and to make a
President Trump
comparison,
for bringing
Joe
back this
Biden signed, get
tradition.
this, just
I
77
was talking
during
to
his
Paul before we
entire
went in
first
here,
year, and we're only a
we were
little bit
part
into
of the,
August so far, and Donald Trump
Council on Physical
making history
Fitness when we
with
were kids.
180. 180
you sit up,
executive
you had to
orders
pull up,
signed
you had
so
to do
far this
shuttle
year.
runs, you
So
had to
that's
do
why I
1
said
mile
that in my
runs.
mind, Donald Trump is
And
the
they
most
awarded
influential
the top
president of this century and
15%,
probably dating back a good portion of the last
with
century.
a
That is
patch and
because
recognition
he is
and
remaking the country in
certificates.
terms of tariffs.
And
He
for
is
me, it was a
remaking the
huge
country
item
in
of
terms
pride
of
when I
net
was growing
migration,
up.
and he is remaking
And
the
we
country
need
in terms
to
of how much policy
reinstill
changes he's putting through
that
in
spirit of
executive orders.
competition.
As I said, it truly
And
is
that
history
spirit
making.
and that
Love it,
commitment to
like it,
nutrition and
or lump
physical
it.
fitness.
But Donald
Let me know in
And
the
I'm so
comments.
grateful to President Trump for your
Is this what you
leadership
voted
and bringing
for?
us back for our country.
If it is, I want you to type a big, fat, capitalized yes. Because this is what I voted for.
Thank you, Mr.
This is
President,
what I
Vice
wanted. The
President
most
Vance.
influential
This is truly an
person
honor. I
in
want
the
to thank
last 100 years
the team
to be the
behind me here
president
for
of
giving
my
us
country.
trust to be able to do this.
That's why I voted for
has
Donald
always been
Trump
part of
3
my life,
times. And I know
the
that many
importance
of
living
you
a healthy,
did
active
as
lifestyle
well.
is cannot
It's
be any
just
more
so
important
amazing.
than nowadays. So
All right, now,
thank you for the
listen to
trust,
this.
and I can't wait
Democrats
to get to
are
work
so
to make a
stupid. They
difference in
think they're
kids' lives,
smart,
but also in people's
but
lives.
they're
I think the
actually
time is so
stupid.
important.
So I've been
Obesity is
telling
the highest
you
it's ever
how
been. Mental
the
health, as we all
GOP
know,
was
they need also to be
justified in
tackled. So thank you for the
redrawing the
trust, and look forward
maps
to
down
going
in
to work with the
Texas
team behind me.
because
Appreciate
of
it.
migration, the way that things have changed, borders, all of that. When they do that,
He's a little shy.
it gives
Once he gets going,
5
nobody-
additional congressional seats to the GOP, to the Republicans. Well, now, 50 Democrat lawmakers in Texas have fled the country.
Supposed to be doing.
They're
but
literally
I'm here
not
to
showing
serve.
up to
I'm
vote
here to
because
serve
they
you.
say,
Okay,
if
so
we
I'm
don't
gonna
vote for it,
do the best
then it
I
doesn't
can
happen.
for as long as I can.
Are you
Thank
kidding
very
me?
much.
This is like when my child would cover their eyes and say, if you can't see me,
Obviously very
then I
excited to be
can't
here.
see
Thank
you.
you,
Well, we
Mr.
see
President,
you.
for allowing
We
me
see
to
you.
serve
We
on
know
the
that you've
council.
fled
Just
to
excited to
New
do my
York.
part to help
You've gone on
make
vacation
America
to
healthy
Illinois.
again, to help
You've
our
gone
youth
into hiding in
be healthy and thrive
Massachusetts
and grow up
so that
and
you
be
don't
great
have to
citizens
do
of
this.
this
This was a
country and
strategy
be, great
that
family
they've done
members
in the
and
past.
contribute
However,
to this great
the
country.
governor
I think you have to be
and
strong
the attorney
in mind
general,
and
they're
body
saying,
and soul.
listen,
So thank
you
so
are
much for allowing me to
lawmakers,
be here.
there are
Thank you.
rules, you're breaking those, and we're going to sue you. We're going to go after each and every one of you, and if we have to,
well, thank
we
you
will
all,
go
and
to
thanks
each
to
of
the
those
president
individual
for setting up
Democrat
this important commission.
sanctuary
Thanks to all the
cities
great
where you're
athletes
seeking
for lending their
refuge,
credibility to it. I
and we
think all
will
of us who have
arrest
young
you and
kids at
drag
home
you
just know
back.
that kids are
But
healthier,
Governor
they're
Greg
happier,
Abbott,
they do better
he
when
took
they're
it a
out there,
step
they're being
further.
active, they're playing
He
in
said,
sports. They're
if
hanging
you
out with
don't
their friends.
return
I think all of us have
and
thought
do
at one
your
point in the
job,
last few years that
then
kids
I
spend a
will
little too
literally
much time
replace you
on their
as
phones,
governor,
maybe a little
as
bit too
the
much
governor.
time in front of the
This
TV. We just
truancy
want
ends
kids
now.
to do
The
better.
derelict
We want them to be
Democrat
healthier.
House
We want them to be
members
happier.
must
And we know
return
that
to
getting out there,
Texas
playing in sports,
and be in
being
attendance when the
active
House
and healthy and
reconvenes.
physically fit
If
is
you
a
don't
critical
do
part
that,
of this. So all
I
due
will
credit to the president,
remove
Secretary
you.
Kennedy's
I
leadership.
will
This is all
literally
about just
remove
making our
you from
kids
Congress
better citizens,
because
better
you
people,
are now
and
breaking the
happier in
law
their daily lives.
as
And I
a
think this is a
lawmaker.
great team to get it
Now, let
accomplished.
me know in the
Thank you, sir.
comments. This is so childish. I think that these people should be arrested and dragged back to Texas. You are welcome to vote against it. That is your right. It is not your right to run away and to mess up the flow of government. Remember when they said, if you interrupt the flow of government, you go to jail? That was called January 6th. So you guys are a bunch of hypocrites and idiots. So hopefully they will go after them and this whole thing will be done. All right, speaking of going after people, the U.S. Office of Special Counsel is officially investigating Special Counsel Jack Smith for potential violation of the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal employees from engaging in partisan political activity. The inquiry, confirmed by Fox News, is focused on whether Jack Smith unlawfully targeted President Donald Trump to influence the outcome of the 2024 American election. While the investigation is not criminal in nature, it carries serious implication for his future and his ability to practice law. Now, I believe that he absolutely conspired to make Donald Trump look bad. He met with people that he wasn't supposed to, secret meetings, secret chats, all of that in order to get Trump. Now, Senator Tom Cotton formally requested the probe. President Trump's astounding victory doesn't excuse Jack Smith of responsibility for his unlawful election interference. He should be investigated, and that's what we're going to do. Now, Smith, appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland, led two high-profile investigations against Trump. One for the January 6th situation, and the second one for the 2020 election. So both were ultimately dismissed, but they are saying behind the scenes, we know what's been happening. All right, you guys, this is absolutely huge. Most of us are not going to fully understand the power of what RFK Jr. has done. But RFK Jr., excuse me, HHS Secretary RFK Jr. has done two very huge things for MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. Number one, he suspended a Biden-era program that financially rewarded hospitals for force vaccinating their staff. So they had to report every single person's vaccination status, and then if they hit a certain percentage, they got huge bonuses as a hospital. So the whole thing was about shaming and forcing vaccination on people in order to get bonus money for hospital administrators. That is so wrong. People should be able to choose. Now, the other thing is, RFK Jr. has made it illegal for vaccine companies to use mercury-based thimerosal in their vaccines. Now, why is that a big deal? They use it, they put the virus into your arm with aluminum or mercury or thimerosal, and it's called an adjutant. It agitates and alerts the body, hey, there's something here, let's build immunity against that something, right? But what they're finding is it's ending up in people's brains, it's making people mentally retarded, it's giving people high spikes in fever and chronic illness. Suddenly, people are getting autoimmune disorders. It's been going on for a long time. But because Big Pharma has been so good at brainwashing us, making vaccine the new religion. Ooh, if you're not vaccinated, we're all going to die. We have to have herd immunity or we're all going to die. Well, that is not true. And more science is coming out. And so now you have top scientists consulting with and alerting RFK Jr. that, wait a minute, we need to handle this, otherwise people are going to get very sick. We believe it's the reason there's so much chronic illness and autoimmune disorders in the United States. So everything I just shared with you, you can Google. It's all proven. Big Pharma colludes with Google and others to try to cover it up, but it's all absolutely true. All right, let me show you today's sponsor on how you could also